Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Bufnagle the podcast, where we explore entertaining and enlightening discussions of the adventure of life and all things good. From science and technology to history and philosophy to leadership and success. We hope to give you a better understanding of the world and skills for everyone to pursue their own adventure. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Bufnagle the podcast, where we talk about all things good, the pursuit of the adventure of life. I'm Zach, and we're gonna take our way to some shopping carts, some shopping cart bobsled, and some lessons learned from parking lots along the way. But however, I can't do this one alone. So, as always, I'm joined by Rafe. Rafe, how are you doing today?
Zach, I am phenomenal. It is like I said, it is a great day to be doing a podcast with you. Hey, thanks listeners for being there. You guys, woo! Yay, listener! Yay! Hey, thanks for being there. We are a global top 10% podcast, and we are everywhere out there on the interwebs. You can reach us at bufnagle@bufnagle.com, and we're everywhere, Zach. It's just, if I kept listing everything every time, it'd just be, we're everywhere. All right. Remember, tell a friend to listen. You will get a free episode. Give us a couple episodes and see if we don't give you a reason to come back for more. Give us a 5-star review and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. It matters a lot. It matters to humanity in the future if you hit the subscribe button today. Zach, tell me, I have some shopping cart stories, and I know this. Sometimes we do some prep, and sometimes we're just like, let's just fire it off, rapid fire thing. Boom, shopping carts. Tell me where you're going.
Yeah, so sometimes when we do prep, you do prep, and then I just kind of show up and steer the ship in the right direction. But today I'm letting you not prep because you do better with that. So
all right,
we're talking about shopping carts. And if you've been on the internet machine, you've probably seen some type of quote or picture related to a shopping cart stranded by society, and then some quote related to why don't you put your shopping cart back, and blah, 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 blah. And then somebody, will always chime in with the idea that the shopping cart is a test. And it's the ultimate litmus test for whether a person is capable of self-governing, of humanity, of being a good person, of just giving back. And we're kind of talking about that concept today and what it means to put away your shopping cart and why we put away our shopping cart.
Well, okay, so this is a great thing. So I know some things about shopping carts. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to mention.
They have 4 wheels.
They do have 4 wheels, and typically the back 2 wheels are straight and the front 2 wheels are curvy. And what happens if you have the shopping cart, you ever have the shopping cart where it goes thump, 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 as you're walking along? That's because one of the back wheels has a flat spot on it. And it has a flat spot because somebody, when they were dragging the carts from the parking lot back into the store, they dragged it sideways, and that sands down. It grinds down the wheel to make a flat spot. So whatever you're doing, please don't drag your shopping cart sideways along the back wheels. It gives flat spots, and nobody likes those. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is 100 million years ago, when I was in graduate school, the members of the stat department decided on a Friday night to go out and we would frequent some establishments that were not, how should I say it? They were not standard college hangouts. Okay, so we would go out into the hinterlands around Fort Collins, Colorado, and one place was a place called LaPorte, Colorado, which is just northwest of Fort Collins. And LaPorte means the port, obviously, but seeing as there's no oceans in Colorado, I don't really know what they were thinking, but maybe port just means like the opening, or the like. Puerta is a door, right? Okay, so anyway, so we were out there in LaPorte, Colorado, and in LaPorte, Colorado, at the intersection of 2 highways, there's a bar on a corner called the Drink and Dog. Okay, and it has on the, they have like a lighted sign, and it has a hot dog sitting in a lounge chair drinking a beer. So we thought that pretty much sums up our graduate school experience. So we went to the Drinking Dog, and it turns out that they had a shuffleboard court out back behind the bar, and we were playing shuffleboard one night, and then we were like, it's this back area, so there were some picnic tables and some lights and the shuffleboard court, and we decided that we were going to play shuffleboard, but we didn't have the sticks and we didn't have the pucks. What we found in that back area, Zach, what did we find? A shopping cart. All right. So we decided to play shopping cart shuffleboard, and we actually took Mike Mosier and put him in the shopping cart for, I don't know, just to act as like real-time referee. And we played shuffleboard with the shopping cart and Mike Mosier in it. And that was shopping cart shuffleboard. So that's the first thing to know about shopping carts. The second,
The funny thing about this thing is I'm the serious one on the show.
well, yes, that is. If anybody knows this, that's the odd thing. All right, so okay, but back to shopping carts. I always return the shopping cart. I always return it. In fact, lately though, Zach, I've gone past returning the shopping cart, and you know what I do when I get to the store? I take my shopping cart from the corral in the parking lot, and I take it inside with me. And sometimes I take in two. Or like there'll be some lady with a baby, and she's trying to get the baby and the groceries into the van. And I say, ma'am, can I take your shopping cart? And it just, Zach, it changes their whole day. It's like somebody did something nice for them. So I take that shopping cart and I grab that one and another one from the parking lot and I bring them inside.
Yeah, I mean it's the shopping cart. There's a quote from Glenn Danzig, not Danzig the singer, but oh, did you not get? Okay.
No, you know what? Cultural reference. I'm old, Zach.
Wow. No, it's your culture. It's from like the 80s and 90s. Anyways, therefore, the shopping cart presents itself as the apex example of whether a person will do what is right without being forced to do it. There is no penalty for abandoning your shopping cart. There is no penalty for stranding the shopping cart in the parking lot. You don't get extra good place points for putting the shopping cart back. None of that exists. You have the decision. And you make the decision that you can, put the shopping cart back. You can put it in the shopping cart corral. You can put it upside down on your cart. Nobody is stopping you. But you choose to make the decision of, am I going to return the shopping cart? And returning the shopping cart is usually, it's a minor inconvenience at best, at worst.
At
best, it provides you an opportunity to give somebody a full expression of their humanity. You mentioned that with the lady putting the groceries and the kid away. Maybe she puts the kid in the grocery bag and the groceries in the car seats. She's having the day. But you allowing her to take the pressure off of worrying about her own shopping cart allows her just to focus on her life. Additionally, if you're putting that shopping cart back and you see somebody who's like needs a shopping cart, he's like, why don't you take mine? Because it's here, it's going to make your life, you make now 10 less steps to the shopping cart shopping cart holder. We got to make up words here.
I thought it was a corral. I thought it was a corral. I thought
it is, but we have to make up words because.
Okay, we'll make up our own word. Okay, shopping cart holder place in the parking lot. Yep.
Yeah. And you give it because it's 10 extra steps, and they might be having a day, and you allow them the opportunity just to slow down for half a second. And it's the same thing you do when you go to the Trader Joe's, and you go to the Trader Joe's parking lot, and you see the old lady. They put her cart back. She has 3 bags. You can see the mathematics in her head of like, how do I hold all these bags and carry them to my car? It's cold. It's snowing outside, and then you come up and you're like, hey, why don't I help you here? You grab that extra bag, you walk the 10 extra feet to their car, and you just, you do the right thing. Not because you're forced to do it, not because it's the right thing to do, because it is the good thing to do.
Well, it's the right thing to do because it is the good thing to do, right? But, there are so many opportunities, and I know this was kind of a trendy statement sometime in my life with this idea of, what do they call it? Do random acts of kindness and senseless acts of beauty. Have you ever heard that?
No, but unprovoked act of goodness. I know that one.
Okay, yeah. So, and those are, that sounds like a cat poster and a bumper sticker, probably because it is, but that is actually true, right? It's a good thing, even if it's on a bumper sticker. If it's true, it's still true, and it is amazing how much joy and grace you can spread by doing those nice things. If you ever watch the lady with like one kid in a kid carrier and another kid that's like running around or like riding in the shopping cart, trying to get those kids into the car, adequately strapped in. The car might be hot because it's sitting in the sun, and then at the end, and get all the stuff in there, and then get the cart back over to the what are we calling it? The cart keeping place,
whatever you want to call it.
I was going to call
The
it
shopping cart launch portal.
The rendezvous point. Yeah, so leave it back. So for her to do that, suddenly she's got to leave her kids in the hot car in the parking lot, and as soon as she turns around, someone's going to accuse her of abandoning her kids. So at some point you're like, I'm taking all that from you. Let me and I say it kind of like that is one of those things that it's like the least you can do. It's really hard to do anything less than helping somebody out when you're walking right past the cart corral, right past them. Just say, hey, let me take your cart. And it just lights up.
The worst thing to happen is it adds 5 extra seconds to your day. The best thing, the good thing that happens is you make somebody's day infinitely better because you left them better than you found them. And I don't know. I grew up playing a lot of sports. I'm not sure if people knew that. Did you know that?
Were you that? Were you that kid then? Okay.
Yeah, I did a lot of things. So travel, baseballs and footballs and rugby balls and all the other balls. And one of the things that was a constant theme throughout my sporthood,
yeah,
it's like childhood, but with sports, was the idea that you leave the bench better than you found it. So you picked up the water bottles, you cleaned up the trash, you did all those other things. Usually it was the same 3 people doing that. Talk about this in just a second, extension of that. But you leave it better than you found it because, it makes somebody else's life easier down the road. And we've gotten confused, I think, with society is we're so connected via social media and stuff like that we're not connected via person. Humans are social creatures. We always have been, always will be. But with all this rise of social media and this me first generation and chasing the highlight and whatever else it may be, we've forgotten about the human face to face that we can reach out and touch rather than the human that we can like their photo on Instagram or Twitter or whatever it may be. We need to get back into the method and the understanding of the idea that, leave people better than how you found them. Make their life a little bit easier. It adds 5 seconds to your day. Is it really that tough? I mean, maybe you're having a rough day and somebody does that for you. Think how that makes you feel. Because end of the day, no one's going to remember what clothes you were wearing, what hoodie you wore, and how terrible your sweatpants matched to your shoes. They're going to remember how you made them feel. It's not about your money, glory, power, or fame. How did you make people feel?
Yeah, it is. There are so many opportunities to do things like that. And I see it in those kinds of situations. The parking lot at the retailer, wherever it is a place of. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Cars moving about, and people moving about, shopping carts, people coming and going, and there's an edge on that experience. It can be, because you don't want to walk right down the middle of the driving area because people are trying to get where they're going. You want to be out of their way. But on the other hand, you don't want to, everybody wants to respect the rights of the pedestrians. And so you're all interacting in a way where you're contacting each other.
There's tension.
There's a little tension. There's a tension there. And what you can do to alleviate that tension, there are many things to do. And Zach, that goes beyond the shopping cart in the park. If you're walking there and there's trash in the curb and the trash can is right, just pick it up and throw it in the trash can. That doesn't hurt. There were times, when we lived in Nashville, just outside of Nashville, a lot of these little country roads get high concentrations of traffic during certain periods of the day. Because a lot of people are coming and going and they're cutting across from this highway to that highway and they go down, down Hogsback Road or whatever it is, somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. And I remember one day there was a traffic pileup like I had never seen before on this one road. And we're cruising along and it's bumper to bumper for like half a mile. And these cars were moving very, very slowly, very start and stop. And every now and then a car would come the other way. And when we got up around this corner, I saw that there was a cardboard box. An empty cardboard box sitting kind of in our lane. And what it required everybody to come up to the cardboard box and look to see if anybody was coming. And if nobody was coming, then you could go around into the other lane around the cardboard box. And I just remember thinking, this is a dumb thing. We ought to remove the cardboard box. And when I got up to the cardboard box, I put my car in park. I ran out. I took the box. I threw it in the truck, in the bed of the truck, and I got back in the car and I drove on. And I remember thinking, and this one lady at the next light pulled up. She said, "Thank you for moving that box." And I'm thinking, how could you not move the box? How can you not help out? How can you not be the person to provide the assistance that everyone needs? So help the people with the carts, pick up the trash, move the box out of the way, give a little bit of yourself to make it better for everybody. And you know what? In the end, maybe you get to have a podcast and tell a little story on it.
I mean, it's leave people better than you found it. And then this goes back to an additional point of that. The reason New Zealand has the best rugby team in the world is not because they have the best players in the world. It's because they have the best culture in the world. And one of their fundamental cultures and tenets is the captains, the leaders, the guys, the faces of the team. They're the ones who clean up the locker room at the end of the day.
The captains do.
Leaders create more leaders. So that's going to empower other people to do the same. If you see your leader doing it, if you see your best player cleaning up the beer can, putting it in the trash bag, sweeping it out, mopping, doing whatever it is, it's going to motivate and make other people do the same thing. So if there's that player, they're new to the team, they have maybe a little bit of a me first attitude, and they're not doing that stuff, they're going to get called out by the captain. They're like, hey, we do this, but it's not on just us. You set the example. You lead from the front. I've used that phrase multiple times before. We lead from the front. Lead from the front is an action. It's not a leadership. It's not a title. It's not a thing. It is an action that you do. You lead from the front. You set the example so that other people know what it means to be part of this culture. And if someone doesn't fit into that culture, they will get spun out. The reason teams are successful at the highest level is because they have those cultures embedded in place. The reason, the Patriots won so many Super Bowls is because they created the culture where that's what it was. The reason the Lions haven't done that is because they've had massive amount of turnover because, they don't have the culture set in place to be effective. The reason the Bears still suck is, they're the Bears, but that's a different point entirely.
Well, you know what?
I don't know anything about football, but that's all I got.
Well, as we are big Packers fans here, and that is the running joke. It is interesting to me. What's sad about the Bears not doing well for me and I'm not a Bears fan, but I'm a big Walter Payton fan, and Walter Payton was one of those leader guys, and it's a sad story when the group that is associated with somebody that you hold in high regard, when that group does not hold up its end of the bargain. And I think, Zach, what this comes down to is that we all have a duty. And that's a word, right? We have a duty. It's a word that people don't like these days, right? I don't want to have to be responsible. You're not going to make me do something. You do have a duty. You have a responsibility to people around you to create a culture. The question is, what kind of culture do you want to live in? All right, and you have to, what Nelson Mandela said, you have to be the change you want to see. And you can start with shopping carts, and you can talk about cardboard boxes in the road, but that general idea that I will sacrifice for you, that is an old concept that goes back to, we say, Zach, we live in a Greek world. The idea of sacrifice for the greater good is something that we all do, and that's called duty. And you do have a duty. You do have responsibilities, not just to yourself, but to everyone around you. You have duties to your family. You have duties to your community. You have duties to your nation. You have duties to the world. You have duties to your creator. And you can't just run around saying, well, you can't tell me what I have to do. We can't tell you that. But if you want to live the good life, if you want to live a life of excellence, a life of virtue, then those are the things that you are going to be doing.
Yeah, you don't have to put away the shopping cart, but people notice who puts away the shopping cart. The little things. People notice the little things, the unprovoked cleaning up behind the locker room. Yeah, it might feel like you're the only one cleaning the locker room, but down the line, that is going to pay off in some way. Maybe it doesn't pay off the way you want, but it pays off in some way that is going to have a positive impact on your life down the road.
Does that feel like to you? Okay, so here's what it feels like to me. That is a that is I'm going to say it's a virtue from the old days when we were kids. We also does that feel, because I'm feeling now that if I talk to certain people that I said you have a duty to do things, you'd be like, you can't tell me what to do. That
Okay.
there's that. All right. So, but if we are going to live in a worthwhile culture, that's what we need to do. And I think, Zach, I'm going to mention the Queen. All right, the Queen passed away, but I'm going to mention the Queen only on this, is that she chose duty. And you can say, well, it's easy to do the duty that you do when you're the Queen because you have all the money and all the prestige and all the power. You know what? No. She was honest and she was gracious and she was kind and she was humble. And these are all things that are within the reach of prince and pauper alike. It doesn't matter your station. These things you can do. Right? She drove herself. She was the Queen. She drove herself. She was a mechanic in the Second World War, right? An auto mechanic in the Second World War. She worked in uniform for the British Army. So, and she embodied Britain. She said, "This is who I will be. I will be incarnate, that person that represents the realm." And you can say you don't like monarchies. That's a different topic for a different day. But she took that duty upon her.
Yeah, and I think we're talking about monarchy and the Brits, which means that I get to bring up the Knight's Tale.
Oh, yes, you do.
Because in the Knight's Tale, that is also reflected. Heath Ledger plays a common man who pretends to pass himself off as a knight, and he runs into the king, Prince Edward, actually. And Prince Edward is competing under a false name, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's Prince Edward. We can't fight him." Blah blah blah. He's like, "No, he's here to compete. I'm here to compete. I'm going to take him on." So they talk after the match, and he recognizes that it's the prince, and he recognizes that he's Heath Ledger, and then there creates some type of relationship there. But down the road, Heath Ledger's character gets called out for being a commoner. He's not of noble birth. He's not a knight. He can't be competing and saying who he is. But Prince Edward comes. He's like, "No, this man is a knight because of the things he showed me. He showed me the generosity of me competing and all those other things." And that's important. How we treat and interact with others. I said it before. People aren't going to remember what you wore. People aren't going to remember how much money you had. People aren't going to remember how much real estate you own. What they're going to remember is how you made them feel.
Yeah, and
what did you do to make them feel? And if that feeling is good and positive, and maybe it's quiet things you do when nobody else is looking, like putting away the shopping cart, then that is good in life.
Yeah, and those things show up everywhere. It's here's the thing, Zach, that used to be common nature to me growing up, but I don't see it today. Is pushing in your damn chair when you get up from the table. Right? I'll go to cafeterias and restaurants, and you can't get through tables because everybody gets up, leaves their chairs out, and that's a common courtesy. And there's a movie with Brendan Fraser called Blast from the Past. We've seen that, right?
Oh yeah.
That is
The Mummy, which is a great movie, but we'll
absolutely
back later.
And apparently has a new movie out that's getting all sorts of. And he got old, which is really sad because
he's still Brendan Fraser, which makes it fun.
Yeah, but I think he's not quite the same guy, right? So it's. But anyway, so he has this movie called Blast from the Past, and in it he's a young man who was actually raised in a bomb shelter from 1960 to 1980 something, like 30 years, or 60 to 90. And he is now a young man, and he gets out of the bomb shelter and he goes into modern America at the time, which was 1990 something. And he's very square. All right, because the only people he's ever known are his parents, who raised him in very much traditional American conservative 1950s values. And he's polite. He uses good manners. He is respectful of other people. He says please and thank you. He does all the manner things. And it's very interesting. There's a statement in there. He meets this young man, and the man says, he's telling one of the man's friends, he says, he told me that manners are a way to demonstrate respect for other people. And he said, that's funny because I thought it was just a way to show that we were superior. And I think the general manners, it's a very interesting thing. And I don't want to go back to the 1950s, but I do want to work with principles that were in place there. All right. The idea is that right, Christian leadership is servant leadership.
Which is
right?
leading from the front.
Which is leading from the front.
Room. It's taking out the trash. It's putting the shopping cart back.
It's being the first.
What do you want to embody and show people so that they also do the same?
Right.
Because so you can talk. You know what? This is the whole thing. Actions align with words. You can talk about X, Y, and Z, but if you are not doing X, Y, and Z, why the hell should I care about what you're saying or doing? Because you're not in alignment there. If you say, you know what, I'm about these type of things, and then you go and do and live those type of things, I will follow you. I don't have to agree with you, but that's somebody I can get and believe in.
Yeah. So you talked about embodiment, and the Queen did that. She embodied Britain. All right. This idea, whatever, and you know, there's good and there's bad. I'll give you all that. But you know what? A culture and a society that practices manners, that practices respect and
common
courtesies, and you know, it wasn't a base culture. It wasn't a diluted culture. It wasn't a culture built on celebrity and just the look at me. It was a culture based on servant leadership, and she embodied that. So the question is, who are you? And what do you embody? And Zach said that you have to embody that. So if you want to be if leadership to you, what is that? Well, you have to embody that. And if leadership to you is I get to go first and I get to the best slice of pizza at the front of the line, and I don't have to clean the locker room, then people will say, well, when I'm going to be leader, I'll do that too. And then nobody gets anything done. And we are there now. We are there. We are in a culture that does not appreciate that. We have a self-centered culture. We have a culture that focuses on I don't owe anybody anything, right? But I think we would all do well to pursue an attitude and an embodiment that is servant leadership.
I mean, and going with that, it's like, who are you when no one is watching you? Do you go give blood on Saturdays? Are you a kidney donor person? Are you a donor transplant person if you die in a car wreck? Whatever it may be. Are you doing the things that you can put yourself to give back more than what you took? And with that, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Did you leave people better than when you found them?
And that's all about, those are all virtues, okay? And virtues aren't these are the right things to do because they're the right things to do. These are the right things to do because they will allow you to live excellently. You will live an excellent life if you are virtuous. And all of those things, the manners that you show, the manners that you show, the respect you have for others, the things you do when nobody's looking, even if you are never in the public eye, you will live a virtuous life and an excellent life if you follow those virtues. And those are the highest good. Those are the things that allow you to live excellently.
And that's what we look to seek for. I think it's important. It's putting away the shopping cart. It's a simple thing. No one notices. You don't even notice you doing it. You do it because you feel that is the right thing to be called to do. You help out. You show up. You lead from the front. You lead from your heart. That's the good we're trying to seek. So I want you to leave you all with that. And just remember to go seek the good, be the good, and spread the good. Enjoy the adventure of life.